Hi, we are talking about video resumes today and job seeker business cards. I'm Christine Meach. I work with job seekers as an employment consultant for vocational rehab services.
And I'm Evie Wold, and I work also in placement services for vocational rehab services. And I'm going to be Christine's student today. So we'll be learning together about video resumes and business cards. So welcome.
Thanks, Evie. So video resumes, it's a tool to assist job seekers in showcasing their skills and abilities. What I like about this is the photos and videos bring the job seeker's skills and abilities to life. Usually it's a short clip, less than 2 minutes long, and it can be used in tandem with the traditional resumes, which is really cool. So we just kind of talked about it on the last slide, but it does bring action to the traditional resume. So what employers have said is they love seeing the abilities of the job seeker versus the disability. In further slides, you'll see how the video resume comes to life and what the employer gets to see.
And Christine, can you tell me a little bit about how video resumes are different than visual resumes that we use in customized employment?
Yeah, so visual resumes would be more of the pictures on a PowerPoint and more talking points versus a video resume is the action, putting the music, the action to it. It could be the videos and the pictures in movement. And it's showcasing their skills and abilities and bringing potentially the resume that you have and putting those actions into a video.
Okay.
Great question.
And you're right, we are living in a virtual world. So the employers are so used to this kind of the way that it's the messaging comes to them.
Yeah, so recently I was able to go with a job seeker and bring her visual resume to the employer, and they were wowed by it. It was great because it started the conversation in a different way than let's set up an interview. It's, wow, we have a food prep position that we need to fill. And by watching your video resume, we can see that you have the skills and abilities to do it. So it's just a great way for people to have that visual of the job seeker.
Mm-hmm.
So when we think of video resumes, there's a few different tools that go along with it. An iMovie is just one of the many ways that you can create your video resume. Reason why I like it is it's free. And you can do it on an iPad, a MacBook, or on your iPhone. And the nice part is when you're creating it, you also can upload it to a YouTube, which we will talk further in another slide about how to create a YouTube channel and have your job seeker create that. It's a great place to save the video, and then how we add in a QR code so you can use that in making your video resume more accessible. So how to create an iMovie trailer. There's the link to the video on this slide. We'll go through this and then we'll talk further about it.
Hello everyone, today we're going to be talking about creating an iMovie trailer. So an iMovie trailer is sort of the first and most basic way to get into iMovie and have the students create something visually appealing. There's not going to be a lot of different things they can change about it to personalize it beyond the general template. However, it is very quick and very easy to create. So if students are creating something very fast, it's not a very big project, but you want to do something a little bit different, a little more creative, iMovie Trailer might be a great option for you. So I'm going to open up iMovie, so I want the star and the camera in it. And your initial screen, if you've never used iMovie, might look a little bit different than mine, because I have created several movies in the past. but there's going to be this box with a plus sign. I'm going to tap on that, and then I'm going to tap trailer. Okay, and it's going to open up a bunch of different trailer options. All right, if you hit the play button, it will walk through the sample of it for what it's like. Now, these all have pre-made sequencings and soundtracks and inserting text at various spots. So it will depend on what you actually want to accomplish and what the student wants to actually accomplish. Will depend on which template they use. Now, all these templates are slightly different lengths, so that's important to think of as well. You don't want to pick one that is super long or super short. Also, it gives a recommended number of cast members, so roughly how many people should be in the trailer. Obviously, romance, you have 2 cast members, but some of these you do have a lot more. All right, let's say I'm going to do family, so I'm going to create the trailer. All right, now I need to fill in the outline a little bit, the name, who it is, gender, just because these are going to be certain things that do come into play with your trailer and all these other things. The storyboard is where you're going to actually be putting in content. All right, so my outline is where it's going to be auto-filling in, like for example, HLR Productions, because I was at HLR when I was doing this, so HLR Productions auto-filled in. The names, Madison, Tyler, notice these are the cast members' names. So it's going to automatically put in a lot of that information from that first page. From here, if I just want, let's say, a landscape, I'm going to tap on here. Now they're suggesting a landscape. Now it doesn't have to be a landscape. It can really be on anything you want, but for it to fit with the mood and the theme, they're suggesting a landscape. This clip is going to be 1.7 seconds long, and because that's why it says 1.7s. So it will be 1.7 seconds long, so just be aware of that. Now you could just put in a static picture, but you could also put in a movie. So I'm just going to insert a video of like an animation of mitosis. So now it's 1.7 seconds, so I have to pick where in this video it's going to be because this video is longer. So I'm going to just put it right there. Why not? And I'm going to add it. All right, and then it just dumps it in, and you go to the next one. So they want this to be a picture of Madison. All right, and you go through and blah, 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 blah. And then when you're done, you just hit done. It's that simple. And now here's my video, here's my thing. Now I hadn't changed a lot of the defaults, so a lot of it is just kind of defaulted on what it is. And my voice is overriding it, but you would normally hear the music. There might be a little bit of sound involved, maybe someone's talking, things like that. But it creates all of these transitions, it does all of these things for you. So it's very quick and easy to get a nice looking product. However, there's not much you can do besides that. All right. Once I create that, I can't change the order of the things that appear. I can't, do much more than this. It's very limited to what you can do, but it's very quick and easy as well. So this might be a great get to know you thing or for something very fast. But for a lot more depth, they would need to create an iMovie movie, which is what we're going to be doing in the next video. Once you're done, you hit the done button. You can hit the share sheet. And from there, you can upload it to Google Classroom, Drive, iTunes U, anything from there. All right, hope this cleared things up. Hope you guys think this might be something you can use in class. Thank you very much and good luck.
Awesome. Now that we've watched the iMovie trailer, this is just one of the many YouTube videos that you can watch. Feel free to reach out also to me in regards to the trailer. It's forever changing as there's updates always coming. So now that we've watched how to create one, here's one example of an iMovie trailer. The cool part about iMovie trailers is it's already built in and you just plug in your videos and your pictures to create your iMovie trailer. So now that we have our iMovie trailer, we want to save it and have a space for it. What we would do is, this is a great way to work with your job seeker on them creating their own YouTube account. When going into YouTube, make sure that you understand the difference between a public video, a private video, and an unlisted video. Ideally, when you're working with your job seeker and having an iMovie, you want to make it unlisted. The reason for unlisted is if you were to send this to a potential employer, the unlisted, they can check the link out and continue to view it. If you go private, it's only you that gets to see it. And if it's public, anyone that goes on YouTube can search it and find it. So doing that is the safest way to the job seeker. Also, when creating your YouTube account and the job seeker stuff, you'll see on one of the samples moving forward what we have in our subject line of how to reach out to potentially hire your job seeker.
And I would think too, Christine, as a placement person, understanding the difference between that public, private, and what was the third one?
Unlisted.
Unlisted, that you would also want to make sure that the job seeker you're working with understands those statuses as well, so they can manage that. And I can see me as a placement person helping them to set that up and to keep that straight and to share the link with only the people that would have a vested interest in it.
Absolutely. And the nice part is that link will be something that they can share with you and you can share to employers, so that your SharePoint doesn't change once it's on the YouTube.
Okay.
Which is nice. So when you're sending out for job opportunities, you both will have that link. So say you have the link and you want to create a more accessible or another option to be able to utilize your video. A QR code, now that we've been in this virtual world, you've probably seen them when you go to a restaurant or other options. So this is just another great way of someone being able to preview your video resume. Cool part is, I feel like we always have these in our hands now. All you have to do is go to your camera, hover over the QR code, and what'll happen is it'll come up at the top like a link, and it'll say open YouTube. You click on that and it'll start the video. This is with an iPhone. So if you don't have an iPhone, you have an Android, it might be a little bit different, but you can always download the QR code reader app.
I think it's also cool. I think it shows a level of technical sophistication when you have a QR code that's linking. I think that looks neat. I know back in the past, some of like IT people would have a QR code on their paper resume or their document resume. So I think it's kind of a cool, innovative way to link to maybe a LinkedIn account, or in this case, a YouTube account with the video resume.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point, Evie. If you wanted to put your video resume or your LinkedIn account on your traditional resume, this is a great way of linking it. So the sky's the limit with the QR code when it comes to this. And you can personalize it. So you see on this one, there's a dog in the middle, and you'll see in the next slide the reason why. But it's a great way of personalizing it to maybe the job that you're going for, or to show one of your special interests. So one of the ways you can use a QR code is in an email or as a business card. Sometimes job seekers may be going to an in-person job fair. And this is a great thing. They always get business cards. Why not give a business card back? So you can put your name, what you're seeking, your information, or if you have an employment consultant and you prefer them, you can say, please contact my employment consultant at this, this, and this. And then you can talk through why you have a QR code there. it's an easier segue than sometimes when people ask, well, tell me about yourself. This is a way you can offer your business card and say, I would love to show you. And then you can walk them through the steps of hovering over, and you take that 1 to 2 minutes of them watching it. And then you can have that conversation about your skills and abilities. And it would show too with your resume, the skills that you have to offer. So why I have the dog on here is because on my business card, I say dog caretaker. If you were to hover over this, and we'll share the link in the resources, you will see that this video resume talks all about different dog caretaking. And that is why I was able to personalize it for that. Doing a business card also, you can go on to Microsoft Word, and in templates, just type in business cards, and then you get the template here, and then you can add into the stuff. If you have questions about it, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. So when you think of this, this is a really short learning opportunity, but we're putting a lot of things together. You have your iMovie to start your video resume. You upload it to the job seeker's YouTube account. You create that website link to create your QR code. And what that could equal is your business card and your video resume. So we have a few examples. Christine's dog caretaker video and Dave's landscaping. Two things that might be a dirty job, but in the video resume, it can show how fun it is and the passion that goes behind the work that you do. Some of the resources that we had that we referenced during the training here is how to create a YouTube channel, iMovie trailer, QR codes, and the last one is other visual resumes that Wisconsin VRS has been using too. So just as another reference point. So we went through a lot of information on iMovie, YouTube, and QR codes. Is there any questions?
I love the way you put it all together. I think that using our phones is a great way to do, it's an accessible way because we all have a state issued iPhone. I think you had mentioned to me that having maybe an iPad or a MacBook, maybe there's some additional features that you could access.
Yeah, so the iPad and the iPhone are a lot alike, but a MacBook, you might have more additional features. So, but you can still do a lot of the editing on your phone. So with the trailers, it's already kind of built in and you just plug things in. But when you move into the iMovies, there's more detailed options for it. But this is a great segue into creating that quick clip.
I love the fact that you've tried it with employers and they're giving some great reactions. Excuse me, when we moved from regular paper resumes and started to do some of the visual resumes, I got some great responses from employers just for those still photos And just to see it come to life like this is really cool. I can imagine it's so innovative, and it would give them a really good idea of what really goes into this, into these tasks.
Absolutely. And it's a great introduction. So looking at it as maybe someone has a very interest area and you're wanting to do informational interviews or just make that network connection. It's a great way of connecting people, and you're creating conversations rather than just asking questions.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you
So-
so much. This was great.
Thank you, Evie. On the last slide is my information. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. We're all learning as we go, and things are forever changing. So look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you. Bye.